I'd kind of backed off the industry a lot. I had my first daughter, and I've been doing kind of dad life stuff. And I was like, dude, we're gonna go do the Seventh Heaven, like the con show. Like, I don't know if that's,
I know.
And I was really skeptical about it. But we went.
Feel weird.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it is fun, but it does feel weird.
But I can get used to it because, honestly, because
for sure.
it reminded me of all the best parts of
For sure.
our life in
What we
this
did.
world.
Okay, everybody, it is Friday. Joe,
Everyone's phones are beeping. Great, that's a good start.
That's my phone.
That's a good start. As
was
everybody
pretty
now,
excited.
everyone's like, oh,
yeah, everybody silence their
Maybe let's
phones.
turn
please.
off
Don't
the
turn them
phone.
off because we might need them during this long hour of communication.
Why? We don't need
Either
them.
way, it's Friday.
Doing? Joe's still on his phone. What are you
I'm
doing?
doing it.
We're-
I'm unsubscribing. You know what's driving me
Oh my
nuts?
God,
Hey,
no.
Rocket Money.
I have been on this
it
unsubscribing
great?
thing. Shut up, dude. They don't sponsor us anymore. No, I'm kidding. No, no.
Only when they buy ads do we mention
Yeah,
that.
I
on
don't
this
mention
pod.
people unless
Yeah.
they pay money.
No, that's not true, actually.
No, that's not true. We
No.
love people and we talk about things.
What
Yeah,
do
we
you
do.
mean?
Yeah.
We're the what do you call us?
We're the unofficial, official Dude Wipes
No,
sponsors. What?
no. You call us the Spec Kings of
The
Sherman
Spec
Oaks?
Kings of Sherman Oaks.
yeah.
The Spec Kings.
Yeah, we do everything on spec.
do everything on spec.
Okay, hold on. Time out. I got to introduce my very
Yes,
good
it's-
friend. We're very honored to have him here. David Gallagher, everybody.
Welcome to the
From the
Know What We
Love
Love
podcast.
In studio,
Is that
in the
an echo?
house.
I'm clapping for myself. Yeah.
As you should. As you should.
Look, at this point, nobody's clapping for us, so we're
It's-
always
we're the only
clapping for
clappers.
ourselves.
We always
Yeah.
clap for ourselves.
Yeah, anyway, I've been unsubscribing because I hate waking up every morning to like 100 emails, you know?
Just
Yeah.
don't
And it's driving me nuts.
unsubscribe to this
And I
if
would
you're
just go-
bored by him unsubscribing
I
You
to
know, I
all
think
of
a lot
his
of people
emails.
out there share this in common with me.
Because
There's a lot
the
of
way-
unsubscribers.
I share this in common.
Do you?
I do the same thing.
Okay,
so like
perfect.
I
Thank you.
run 2 emails. I have like an email that I
Right.
use for work stuff.
Right, and then the other
and
crap
work
one.
adjacent stuff,
Right.
important things, and then I have like my personal one for
shop,
like
do other
whatever.
things,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
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 weird things
But
you-
I'm always trying to,
Dude, it got to a point
clean
I
it
was, It was
out.
driving me nuts, and my wife finally said, "You got to start unsubscribing." And I was like, "How do you do it?" Because I hate this kind of stuff. She's like, "You go all the way down to the bottom, click the unsubscribe. It takes you,
know,
to another page.
every
You gotta
time
go to your email." I'm like,
Yeah.
you because
Joe.
if you take the easy route, I noticed
That's
if you hit the
never gonna
unsubscribe
work.
at
Every
the top,
time,
can
every
give me
time
that?
you click the button, they're
You know,
selling your
I know,
address
I know.
to
They're
another
just giving it
company.
to somebody else, bro.
You're
They are.
approving them. You don't
guys know
realize.
They're
everything.
probably right.
You know what's funny? Sam,
never admit
I
that.
do it too, though.
Sam over there
Anyway.
has scolded me about not unsubscribing because I have 47,000 emails in one account.
Oh
Yeah,
no!
it's
You
so
have one
bad.
of those bubbles that's
Buried,
like
dude.
thousands of
47. I'm buried.
can't have it.
That's my AOL account.
I go nuts when I,
I-
see more
my
than 50.
AOL
I'm like,
account,
oh,
email
too many
account.
emails. I got to get rid of these emails.
It's a
I hate it.
disaster.
It's 10 at a time, baby.
too.
I clear it
too.
out. I
Me
hate
too.
the bubbles.
Me too. I
Yeah.
hate the bubbles. Do you ever see these people's phones? They have like 3,000 text messages.
I couldn't possibly.
That would,
no,
my brain would.
no,
explode.
yeah, no. The anxiety from just talking about this actually
Is right, dude. I feel you on that. So anyway, I started about a month ago this unsubscribing, and every morning you got to be diligent. I take like 25 unsubscribe, and you know what?
Only
I woke up this
17,000.
morning. That's
Look,
insanity.
17,300.
that would
That's
drive me
insanity.
absolutely
31.
nuts.
Yeah, I have 41. I'm driving. It's driving.
I
me
got
nuts
old
now.
contracts from 2004.
Now
just in case
with-
I need them. You know what I mean?
Now with me,
Circling back there.
They're useless.
Yeah.
with me, I do
do.
a weird thing where
I
I
do.
have like,
Contracts
I'll let
today
it,
are useless.
I'll let it get up to like 500 or so, and then I'll go and I'll just go through it one day because I'm so sick of it. However, here's my problem.
like-
right now, I've got an email somewhere buried.
Cool.
I can't find it. I even go to the unread. I do mark all,
I
read.
even go to the undead,
It's-
and I
it's-
still can't find it.
I still got this
Undead.
one rogue email in my email account. No matter what I do, I've searched thousands. I've spent hours looking for this rogue email. I can't
You
find
let
it.
it get up to 500,
Yeah.
and then you take.
Well,
what,
my AOL got
Why?
up to a couple thousand. That's when it became.
But here's the
became
deal.
a
To
real
me,
problem.
that's like the people that go, like, all right, you know what, man?
The AOL. You just-
Look at AOL.
Yeah. It still works, guys.
Matt has an AOL
He
and
does it
and
from a rotary phone in the
and
kitchen. He
and
dials
a
it.
Proton.
Don't
What's that
fix
other
what ain't
weird
broke.
one?
they don't make them
Yeah.
like they used to.
They don't
That's
make 'em
exactly right.
That's
They don't.
exactly what I'm talking
You know
about.
the old flip phones? They
Yeah.
were built so well. They literally, a couple of my daughters used
Really?
to play with
I
old flip
snapped
phones.
them in half all
No,
the time.
and like the slide ones. Remember the ones that would
Just from
slide?
real aggressive.
Yeah, remember going, yeah, flip them.
You know,
yeah,
I
yeah.
have.
all the time. I sit on it and be like,
I have I have pretty much every generation of cell phones since we started getting them.
So cool.
I have all Joe's old phones.
You saved them?
I saved them, dude. He doesn't know this
Yeah.
yet, but now
I
we know.
have nostalgia for the old razors and stuff. Like
Dude,
they
the
were,
razors were so
and I know
cool.
they brought. It was the only time when they reintroduced them a couple years back. I know that they have like modern ones now, and I
Right.
was just like, man, I'd love to just hang up the phone again. Like,
wouldn't that be so
the
cool?
physical hang up is something that I am nostalgic for.
They're talking about these folding.
The iPhones
have
are
it.
going to, the
Samsung
new ones are
has
going
it, right?
to,
Or-
Samsung
Yeah, they've been
has it.
folding phones up. Apple hasn't done it yet.
No,
so
Apple, but
they
most
are.
of the world doesn't know. But
Yeah.
I
yes,
want
they have it
multiple
again.
folds.
Yeah.
I want it to be like laundry, so you could really just keep it.
Did you guys ever have
Squaring it
the Razor and the BlackBerry? Did
Oh,
you
yeah.
guys do that for back in the day?
I never had that.
I had both those.
I
There was
skipped it
a-
all.
There was
the
a
ball
time.
BlackBerry.
It's so weird. I was so
Netflix.
I was so
Netflix. used to get
Netflix. No,
DVDs
what was
for
it? What was the phone? What was the phone with the N? With the walkie? Cook, cook, cook.
Oh, Nextel.
Nextel.
Bro.
See,
No,
I
I
got
was-
a name.
we all had the walkies.
Yeah.
We all
Oh
had
my
them.
God!
I was
Were you
anti.
ever? Did you guys ever go like when you weren't working? Did you guys ever go to a school where you guys homeschooled? How did you
We
guys?
went to school.
Went to school.
So I went to school, and
Me
and
too.
I
Us too,
and
yeah.
I just remember the Nextels would get everyone who had a Nextel would get in trouble because you'd be sitting in class and it would just
Get a
go.
walkie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone
Yeah.
comes screaming in your pocket like in the
Yeah.
middle of class.
I
man.
know.
Oh, it's
the walkies.
brutal.
We did it because remember they used to charge you for like text messages versus voice calls.
Yeah.
But on the
Pay for all of
Nextel,
that back in
on
the
the
day.
There was
Nextel,
radios,
family
yeah.
to family.
Family
If you
to
had your
family.
family
Yeah.
plan, you could just walkie each other.
Yeah.
and you weren't charged for
We were,
anything.
we were on that for
We
sure.
were on that
yeah.
too. We
Why
were on that
don't-
too.
Wait.
You guys have a big family. I have a big
Yeah.
family too. So
Do
we
you?
were all on that. Yeah, I'm the oldest of 5.
Wow.
My brothers and sisters, they all kind of dabbled in the industry a little bit when we were young, but none of them kind of took to it the way I did, and all kind of dropped out of it. But yeah, we were all on that radio.
Isn't that
wave
crazy?
back
It was
then,
so
yeah.
cool, dude.
It
cool.
was cool.
The good old days of early cell phones. I remember it was so cool the smaller they got too. Like that was the whole thing. Like I remember holding up phones. It was literally like, hey man, you see this new cell phone?
Yeah,
Look at this
the
thing.
little
Baby.
microphone. Yeah,
And then like
I
it
know, they got
became
smaller.
The smallest
I
is
feel like we're
possible.
finding
Yeah,
this
Joe,
out-
I have one of yours that's like I'm not kidding you. It's like this big.
no, it was like this big.
It,
you know,
it looks like a
this
box,
big.
a Tic Tac box.
Yeah,
It's literally
kinda.
a
Little
comparable
thing and like
Yeah.
hello. And
Yes.
then it
That's
became
like,
when the
hello.
when the iPhone
Yeah, it's
like
true.
Pro
Holding it
Max,
like that.
it went back to almost iPad
well,
size.
see, I still
Like-
I still rock, and I have an
Yeah.
old
Okay.
iPhone now. I have the mini.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
But they stopped making the minis, and I was
They don't
like, "You
make it.
guys are leaving me behind. I don't want an iPad in my pocket.
I
You know,
know.
This
I want
is the
I want a
smallest
phone-sized
iPhone
phone.
they make.
Right, yeah.
This is the smallest iPhone that they make now, and I always get the
It's
smallest
too
one.
Is that the
big.
Pro?
But
Dude,
this is just the it's the
It's,
yeah,
the,
it's the
Pro. That's what I have too. I have
Yeah.
arthritis in both thumbs now from all the reaching I have from like scrolling on this.
Well, and
it's
I hate
ridiculous.
that because you know what? You can't get
yeah,
down here unless
need
you
both
have
thumbs.
unless you have massive hands.
Or
You
you
No,
can't-
just
that's,
should kill.
that's I'm not playing this game.
the
I'm just
Pro
keeping my
Max.
old phone.
Dude,
I was
the
like,
Pro
all
Max
right,
is
they
insane.
they stopped me. I used to get the phone every year, and then
Me too,
they
me
stopped
too.
making the minis, and I was like, I'm tapping out.
I know.
Can't do it
I know.
anymore.
And then they update you, and they try to sneak in the mandatory updates, or you go, "We'll just update it for you later tonight."
Sneak in.
Yeah, because
have
unless
to,
you
Joe.
block them,
You
no.
can't block them.
Once you download
Block
that,
them.
Why would you want to block the service provider for your phone?
because
It's the only way it's
I
gonna
don't want to
work.
fix these bugs and glitches. I want to keep them.
what bugs and glitches?
All those security
My
holes.
feeling is
I want
they
to be
get in
wide
there.
open to
You
cyber
ever notice
fraud.
how- you ever notice how they get in there and they start updating, and then all of a sudden now your battery starts dying and the phone starts glitching
What?
out? I feel like the new software sometimes the old phones can't handle the updates, and then
Well,
they
that's
start
true.
to glitch, and then
That's
you got to
true,
go
yeah.
and get a new phone.
That's just
I feel like
technology.
it's almost like they purposely go like, this is going to work for a minute, and it's going to short this baby out, and you're going to go in and get a brand new one.
Well, that's why
kind
they
of.
come out with the new chips every
Yeah.
year that have the bigger
course.
processors
Of
and
course.
more cores and all that stuff.
because
so
old
then
phones used to last
the old
forever.
ones, yeah, well,
Forever.
exactly. But they
They were
also
built to last.
never ever were updated. That was just
Yeah.
not a thing.
It's
You know,
true.
now my
Right.
car gets updates like
know.
once a
So
week.
cool.
You
Yeah,
know?
it's
So
pretty
annoying.
crazy.
It's so cool.
I hate it. I hate it.
I like it as long as it. I mean, there's always every now and then you get something where you're like, why did they do that? You
Yeah.
know, but like that's the price you pay for most of the time it being cool. You know,
I don't
It's
like
just how
that
it
my
goes.
car feels it's smarter than me. Like, for instance, one of my biggest pet peeves is this, okay?
Joe's
As an
got
old school guy,
serious-
you pull out of a driveway where
serious
you're backing
issue.
up, right?
Can't stand this
And if-
car.
and if you're
it's way
on a-
too smart for me.
What?
It's a highly intelligent vehicle, and I can't stand the
No,
damn
I said
thing.
it
I can't
thinks
keep
it's
up with it,
smarter.
honestly. It outthinks me. I don't like it. I don't
My
like it.
car
Makes me
can't
feel
outdrive me
uncomfortable.
yet. I'll
I
tell you
see-
what, they talk a lot of shit about how
Yeah.
great the cars are at driving themselves, and I'm not buying the hype yet.
No, me
it's,
neither.
it's impressive,
Right.
but it's not a better driver than I am.
No,
No,
dude.
I get it. I
No,
get
dude.
it. I get it.
No, dude.
Uber-
Uber has to have all these little dollops and duels.
No,
and
not really,
window
but
things. You see
Uber-
those Jaguars running around with it's got the wind turbines, the self-driving cabs or whatever.
I'll tell you something.
Like old school, this little squirrel in a wheel. It's like, why is this so rudimentary?
Remember
But-
when I told you about Joe talking a lot?
And they
He's like
still
a
ask for a
wind-up
tip.
doll.
What the-
For a tip. Yeah, who am I tipping?
But who's tipping
The
what?
squirrel.
The squirrel
Yeah.
that's on the back that's propelling the
Oh,
whole
I gotta be
thing.
honest with you. I'm okay with tipping squirrels.
I know. Andy loves
I
squirrels.
have a bunch of squirrel friends. When you leave, we'll introduce you. You can give them nuts; they'll crawl all over you.
He's
as long
got
as you're-
squirrely
I'm serious.
friends too, but that's a whole other
No,
experience. No,
yeah.
But no, but what I was saying is that I don't like.
You were saying
one of my
something?
biggest
That's
pet
diplomacy.
peeves
He's reaching out.
is that that's right. Is that I don't like when I back up. You know, I take my foot off the gas and the brake. I don't ride it because you don't need to sometimes. Like if it's rolling, you could just sort of like let the car roll and then brake.
What the hell is he talking about?
If
He's getting there. He's getting there.
If I after
ball this one. I don't do anything. I just let the car go.
after a heavy night of drinking, I just close my eyes and step on the gas, point the direction, and
How
then
many
hi ho
brothers do you have?
silver.
I have
be
2
there.
brothers.
yeah, younger, right?
Yes, I'm the oldest.
Hey, I'm
He
just
said
a 5,
yes,
Joe.
Are they-
Maybe you
are they-
haven't
are
been
they
listening.
jerks?
Welcome to the Brotherly Love Pod. This is
My-
5. I'm not even speaking. Welcome to the Brotherly
My
Love
middle
Pod.
both my younger brothers are bigger than me. So I have 2
Oh, wow.
like
Crazy.
bigger younger brothers.
Well, that
And,
didn't happen here, thank
you
God.
know,
But no, but it's like I hate the car thinks that I'm not in control of the car, and it'll slam the brakes for me and goes did, and I think I've hit something, but I haven't hit anything. I'm just literally letting
Question
it roll
for you.
for like 4 feet.
Question.
You know, but if
Yeah.
it doesn't feel you on the brake or the gas, it predicts that you're not in control of the vehicle. In a
Yeah,
second,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I hate that.
Question.
It causes me more
No,
stress.
you're the gas guy.
Honestly,
Well,
I don't know
no,
if it's ever happened to
I
you.
mean, it happens to be in my car. So I have the car with those sensors and stuff. And
Right.
so when there's been a few times where like someone will stop short in front of you, and then you
Right.
go, okay, so your instinct, the first thing you do is you look behind you,
Correct.
because if
They
you
teach you
slam on
that.
if you slam on the brakes, someone's gonna rear end you.
Absolutely.
So you have to brake fast, but you want to kind of last minute slow
Exactly.
into that
Yes.
few inch space that you have. You need to use all that
I
space.
feel you.
And as you're doing that, the car will go up. No, you need to slam on the brakes.
And
And the car will slam on the brakes
Exactly.
for you,
I
which
know.
I think is dangerous because then someone's going to hit you.
Okay.
So-
So,
to
so,
that
that-
point,
so I have
exactly.
this issue with those systems as well.
That's happened to me several times, and I feel the same thing. And it happens when I'm backing up too.
Me
if I
too.
take my gas and
Oh, it's the worst.
foot off.
We've got these bushes here, and they're
he's in
they're
agreement.
soft.
I see he's come out.
They're
of his,
so, they're like leaves, and it senses it as a solid object.
Sure.
And every time I'm backing up, I'm doing it really slowly too, and all of a sudden,
yeah,
Dude, my
Come
new
on!
my Jeep.
Or try opening
Wait,
the
bro.
door,
Dude,
without the car.
my Jeep goes into
park, it
park.
goes-
Wait a minute. I
I'm
have
like,
a Jeep. How do you not be able to?
Crazy.
You drive with the door open with
Crazy.
Jeeps. Like that's how the whole thing. You hang out off the side. You can't open the
They
door.
literally want us
Goes
to,
into
to
park.
lock
best
us in our
Jeeps
car.
What the
Have
hell?
no
Drive us to
doors,
it.
no
I
roof.
know.
No, it's
That's
half
what
a
I'm saying.
car.
Dude. That's what I'm saying.
best Jeeps.
And that's what I'm saying. And now they go into park when you open the door, like going under a mile an hour. That doesn't make any sense. When you like crawl in Jeeps, you have, like that's a thing.
Jeep said, "What if half of our car was clothing?
Yeah.
What if it was canvas?"
Literally, I don't
That'd
know
be
what
good.
I don't know
Yeah.
what the heck happened. Anyway, Joe, real quickly, the old brake system, the Brembo brakes or something. When I had a habit of slamming on them, and they would compensate and would slide forward. Do you know what I'm talking about?
yes.
I would get into accidents all the time because I thought I had more
That's the
distance.
ABS system, isn't it?
What
Yeah,
the hell
yeah,
is that? It would like drag me into the car in front of me. I'd be like, what?
They do that-
No.
They
all
did
the
that so the
time.
brakes wouldn't lock, right?
Exactly.
Dude,
yeah,
what the? Oh, you're a car guy.
They were
Nah.
afraid.
You kind of.
They
I
were
remember
afraid
this though.
if
You
If
always
the brakes
had cool
locked,
cars.
you would have just slid into them anyway.
Correct.
You probably need to
Correct.
start braking a little early.
I'm
Well,
a car guy. I can't drive stick shift, but like,
I
yeah,
can't
no,
either, dude.
he's a car guy.
I can't either, but
I
I'm a
like
huge car guy.
cars.
Yeah.
But
I love
you know,
cars, dude. I
know.
love cars. But
Yeah.
I don't. I don't like driving stick, and I know a lot of car enthusiasts go like, "Oh my gosh, what?" But I don't. I much preferred the F1 paddles.
I like
stick.
those better.
So I was when I was younger and we were on the show and stuff. I was an idiot. So what
Yeah,
what
that's
I
fair.
did was,
As we all were.
I
We
got
join you there.
my first stick shift car that I bought was a Viper.
Hey,
And
I had a Viper.
But didn't you
I
have it
had a-
changed?
I had a '97 Viper, dude, and I had a Corvette Z01 automatic transmission put in it.
You had a Corvette transmission put in the Viper?
Yes, it was
Because
compatible.
you couldn't drive stick.
I didn't want to drive it stick.
Oh, you made it automatic. So
dude, it drove automatic, and my best friend's dad still owns that car to this day. It's a '97 Viper.
I got the Viper when I got it. I had an 02.
Nice.
And so I was
02 is great.
17.
Yeah.
It was one of those final edition ones
Yeah, it
that
was.
came out that year.
I know.
And it was the cool, and I was like, oh yeah, don't worry, I'm gonna learn how to drive stick in my new car. And the Viper,
Oh,
I
boy.
drove it
Oh,
maybe 3 times. I had the thing like 20 years. but I drove
cool.
it. I drove it maybe 3 times, and the stick it terrified me. It was the car was a monster that wanted me dead. And like the stick shift, the stick shift would go like this.
Yeah,
the stick shift would just be like freaking just. You'd hold on to it, and you'd be like, "Oh God,
yeah."
Okay,
terrible.
I got this.
Oh no,
it's fine." And so it just the car just wanted to. It was this monster of a thing that was like
uncivilized car.
Yeah, it's a
they
very
overpowered it,
uncivilized
and it was not
car.
refined at all.
Yeah.
Yes, it had no chill.
Don't bring him around me.
Yeah,
It was like, it's like owning a big mean dog. Like if you can't be the dominant one in this relationship, you're dead.
You think you're walking the dog, the dog's walking you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's how the Viper felt.
Right.
And I learned that. I had to learn that lesson the hard way.
Yeah.
So
juxtaposed to like a Porsche Turbo, which is faster. But it's so refined.
But it's a
but
cruiser.
drive
It's
that
a
car as
civilized
an
drive.
everyday driver.
you could drive that car and drink tea.
You
So
can.
you were-
It's an everyday driver, yet goes 0 to 60 in 2.3 seconds.
You were
Like, that's what's
You were
crazy.
17 driving a Viper, and I don't know. Have you ever?
Well, like once.
Do you remember?
It sat in the garage really forever.
What color?
Because I was terrified of it. It was red.
That's so sick.
It was the red Viper.
Do you remember?
All the final, I think, were
red.
red.
I think
yeah.
you're right.
I gotta see a picture of these Vipers.
Here,
Look
look
it
up.
up. 2002. It's good.
Do you remember Club
It was a
17?
beautiful car, man.
Dude, they were beautiful.
Do you remember Club 17,
Yeah,
dude?
good.
Dude, I
Naturally.
haven't. We used to go.
Are you guys the same age?
You were a little bit older, a couple
Yeah,
years.
I think so.
I'm 37. You're
I'm 40.
Happy birthday.
Thanks. Yeah, I just turned 40 in February.
Whoa,
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
you
gosh.
Aquarius?
Yeah.
So is
Yeah,
he. Okay, good. You're
Yeah.
good
February
people.
what?
What was 9?
Not,
He's
Matt's-
11.
Matt's the
Oh, you're
11.
close.
Yeah,
That's
we're
so
days
close.
apart.
Yeah, happy
That's crazy.
birthday. And
Dude,
congratulations on
40,
your
wow.
second
On my second daughter. Thank you.
daughter. Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Dude,
Thank
that's
you very
crazy,
much.
bro.
Yeah.
40.
Yeah.
It goes fast.
My
dude.
little girl Fern.
Fern.
Wow.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Congratulations,
She's a
man.
sweet little girl.
Dude, I was thinking about that because I was thinking about seeing you and I was like, man, I can't believe we're here. Like, I haven't seen you in a long time.
Yeah, it's been a
until
long time, man.
We saw each other in
We s-
Florida or
so
something, right?
I caught up with you guys
Yeah.
at 90s Con. So
Yeah.
so we I kind of stepped back because I never got into the social stuff.
Same.
And I was
We are now,
I was
but,
kind of
yeah.
scared, and so I am too now, and
We
I'm
succumbed.
and I'm learning,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Well, I mean, it was back then. It was like a bet, right? Like it was this new thing that the industry latched onto, and you had to make a bet. Was this thing going to fade out and become a liability, or was it going to become the thing? And it kind of did both.
It did.
Where the things that I was afraid of, where I was like, I don't know if I want to make statements on the internet where things don't go away. That sounds terrible.
Totally.
And so that fear was justified, but then at the same time, it didn't go away and became the kind of normal. And so
I know.
Bev reached out to me. I'd kind of backed off the industry a lot. I had my first daughter, and I've been doing kind of dad life stuff. And she's like, we're going to go do this con, and it's going to be great, and it's all this. And I was like, we're gonna go do the Seventh Heaven, like the con show. Like, I don't know if that's
I know.
And I was really skeptical about it, but we
does
went.
feel weird.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it is fun, but it does feel weird.
It feels weird,
Yeah.
but I can get used to it
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
and no,
Yeah.
honestly,
No,
because
for sure.
the reception was so
People-
great.
people are great.
It was just
Yeah.
so great,
Yeah.
and it reminded me of all the best parts of
For sure.
our life in
What we
this
did.
world.
Yeah,
You know what I
for
mean?
sure.
Like
Yeah.
what it
You're
was
right.
like, because there's so much kind of stuff we deal with in this world that is less glamorous and not enjoyable,
Yeah.
part of being famous, that's a pain in the ass or that is uncomfortable, at best.
Yeah.
But having all of your biggest fans who are going to come out to see you at something like that, all be in one place, and the love and like the kind of excitement that was in, I was like, wow, this is really nice. It makes me, it really rose-colored glass the whole memory of everything too. It was like,
does.
wow, this is like the best parts of what we did.
Yeah,
it is,
for sure.
It is.
So-
And there's so much support at those things.
Yeah, it's really fun
Yeah.
connecting
So I
with
feel
people.
I feel like fame today, new fame, is a combination of can you outlast the shredding, or do you utilize the shredding to make more money somehow?
Yeah,
Whereas
which
when we were
is
growing
a,
up,
yeah.
right? And celebrities do it, but a lot of the younger
They
celebrities
really lean
use
into
both.
it.
They
Yeah.
lean into it.
No, the
They lean
drama is a
into the shred.
huge
Part of it.
part
Look at
of
this
the
Alabama
strategy.
You heard about this Alabama girl and the girl meet me outside and all this stuff? You guys know? You guys don't know what I'm. You know what I'm talking about?
I know
you know what I'm talking about? Yes.
I know what you're talking about. Sure.
Yes.
Meet me outside Alabama?
You know what I'm talking about. Well, there's this girl, and she's like on a talk show. What was it, Dr. Phil or something?
Yeah.
She says, "Meet me outside," and it's like a very, I don't know. She's now the.
All right, maybe I'll explain.
You explain it, bro.
What are you talking about?
Why am I?
Do it.
Why is this what we're doing right now?
Do it, because it's hot. This is like top. This is
Girl,
topical shit.
There's a young
Well,
girl.
definitely not hiring Andy as the press.
This is topical stuff.
Press secretary.
Take it away, bro.
Topical stuff.
Take it away.
All right, sure. There's a young girl who went viral off of Dr. Phil. She had a Dr. Phil moment where she sassed Dr. Phil, and then she turned that into like kind of like a rap music career.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So
millions, like $40
she-
million worth of on OnlyFans in a rap career, like legit. $40 million.
Wait,
bucks.
whoa!
Can
You
we
left
let-
out
can we
the
let
whole
her-
OnlyFans thing.
That's that happened.
Oh yeah, that too.
That happened after.
Yeah.
That's part of
Got
the
it.
leaning
I hadn't
in.
gotten there yet.
This is the
Wait,
scoop.
wait,
This
the
is the tea.
state of Alabama.
My girlfriend told me all
started
this, by the way.
okay.
But this is the tea.
person in
This is the
Alabama.
tea.
I don't believe you.
No, she did. I'm into it now. No, she
You
really
are
did.
following this
Whatever.
very
It was
closely.
me.
My
I told
dog
her
did
about
my
it.
homework, and
I
my
told
girlfriend told me this
I told my
story.
girlfriend about it. So this is the tea. Alabama.
Where's the dog? Oh,
He's the best.
He's
Shmi.
the
Hopefully he hasn't
Is
farted
this-
yet. So it's
this is a little English or a big Frenchie?
big Frenchie.
Big Frenchie.
Big
I'll take
Frenchie.
that.
Yeah.
So I'm switching us subject.
thank you.
I'm getting us off it. But I
Okay.
am an English bulldog guy.
Okay.
So
Oh,
I
I'm a big
had
bulldog guy.
I had an English for 10 years. His name was Brewski. His name was St. Louis Brewski.
I like
Great.
it.
And
That's a great
he was just the best dog ever.
Oh.
I am a bulldog guy. Like that is my vibe.
Got it.
So I haven't had one it's been over a decade now.
Wow.
And it's because, after
get it.
that, you kind of
Dude, I get it. You
didn't
gotta heal.
feel kind of right
Yeah.
to go and go down the same path again. But lately, I've been talking a lot with my partner about how I'm kind of ready. I want a bulldog again.
Dude,
I want
with
to.
the kids in the bowl. That's so
Well, and so
cool.
we just had our daughter. I want her to get a little older, obviously, because bulldogs have that kind of shorter lifespan in general. So you kind of want to time it with your kids, like so that
Don't
their
tell me
life
this.
can be.
Don't tell me the shorter lifespan.
It's one of those things you got to
The
kind
trade-off.
of yeah.
They're so special
It's
that
the
you-
trade-off
yeah.
for all that personality,
I
man.
know.
Me
But,
personally, I'm a Maltese type of a guy. A Shih Tzu.
Matt, get the hell,
Or a,
Matt, get the hell out of here. We were talking about something good here. And then
No, I love bulldogs too, but me personally, I am a shepherd guy. I love the shepherds. Love their
Classic.
Their little
And
classic
Joe's a
wild
Porsche guy.
spirit.
Joe's a Porsche guy.
Yeah.
I'm more. If I want to do dogs, I like
Big
labs and
retrievers.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, Joe.
retrievers and
Classic.
Joe's personality
Yeah, sure.
reminds me of
There's
a
like
golden
a
retriever.
there's like a red lab that I love. These red labs are so cool.
red.
Is that like a
lab.
new color thing
I
that
don't know,
they
it's
do?
a red lab.
Dogs
It's
come
really
out in new
cool. It's
colors
true.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't there that cartoon of a red dog? Isn't there a red dog cartoon? What if he pulls up the red dog
Clifford?
cartoon? Is that who I'm thinking of?
You're an
The big
idiot.
red dog?
Yeah.
Clifford.
Pulls up Clifford. This is the dog.
This is
that I
what
want.
see.
Yeah.
I love his eyes. They
Yeah.
almost look cartoony.
I love it.
Joe,
True
that
story
It
solved.
is a cartoon.
That is a
Clifford,
cartoon.
Joe.
Well, I do. I got to go back to Club 17 though. Do you remember this?
man.
I know. I'm not going to say
Sure,
anything bad.
no,
but
no, I'm-
we didn't
I'm
do
not-
anything really bad.
I
but
remember like coming there once and not just to like
probably
I think
pick me up.
pick you up,
Yeah.
and seeing
Red
all
labs.
you guys
Club
there.
17 for
Red
anybody.
labs.
Yeah.
They're
don't.
so cool.
They don't look red, Joe. They look a little golden.
No, they're like red. Well, they call them red.
All right.
Because they're more like
Dude.
Irish setter color.
Yeah, they just have a little bit of
You know
that
how some
color.
goldens
They're
we
not
had
quite
we had a
as white.
golden we had a golden we had Jack, who was more of an Irish setter golden retriever. He was more like caramel color, a little more red, and then we had Dakota, who was more of like that white sort of palomino color, who's more like yellow lab golden. But these guys are cool. They're just
And
they
they're
have this-
long hair?
No, short hair.
Short hair.
Short hair.
Dude.
That's
They're like labs
yeah.
in that but they're not more golden.
Okay.
Yeah, really neat.
Real quick, let me speak for
Sure.
a second on our
Sure,
podcast.
people are
here.
waited on bated breath for
because
your
they really
Club
want to hear
17
about your
that
red.
three people still know about that are listening to
your
us.
red retriever. Your red
Beloved
retriever
dog.
stories.
what Club 17 actually
Beloved
is.
dogs
I
are
know.
some creepy club you used to go
You're
to.
you're
Go
over here
ahead.
pitching Clifford and
Well,
It was a club where all
Creepy
the
to
Disney
talk
Channel
about it
kids
now.
went.
It wasn't creepy at the time.
No, but
we
now
were,
it's really
we were
creepy.
kids.
I
but
know.
it's really creepy. It was okay. So it was a club where you could go for when you were underage.
That makes
The
sense.
Club 17.
17. That
It
makes
was
sense.
it was a dance club
Yeah.
for underage kids.
Yeah, and then in the back they had like
What?
they had like a little private area, in the
A
VIP,
VIP
room.
room.
They
Where
had
all
a
of us.
VIP area.
Did they really?
You were, yeah,
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
yeah, they did. We
They had a little VIP
kids,
room.
they
They
look
had a
weird.
stage. Every
Yeah.
now and then they do like performances and stuff
Yeah.
there.
There was alcohol. Every once in a while, they were sneaking alcohol in the back
who
room.
would perform?
I mean, if anyone snuck anything in, it was the crowd sneaking stuff in. They didn't have that
Right.
stuff available.
No, it wasn't like
Right.
a bar, open bar.
Right.
But
Yeah,
there was
no
yeah.
alcohol for sale there, which
No.
was kind of how
No.
that I think they
That was-
got away with setting up an
Yes.
underage club in LA. But
Gosh,
Dude.
what is
but
he
like
doing? Oh.
I don't know. I always loved to dance.
Dude,
And
you were-
I always
you were a
loved
stud.
I
You were such
loved
a
to
stud.
dance. I loved hip hop music
Awesome.
and
Yeah,
pop
yeah.
music
Yeah.
and stuff. So like
No,
I love to go out.
I love hip hop
you
and
know,
pop as
with
well.
my friend
Love
and
it.
stuff. So that
Yeah.
was like
Yeah.
dude, 1-7 was always super cool to us, dude.
Yeah.
They let me bring whoever I want.
It
I
was
used
so
to roll in
rad.
deep with all my friends.
Yeah, it was so fun.
We'd go hang out and dance the night
Where was
away.
it located? Was it in Los Angeles?
Hollywood
Was
and
it-
Highland.
Oh,
It
Hollywood
was
and Highland.
Hollywood and Highland, yeah.
right next
It was
to
like a
Kodak
real
Theater.
club.
It was a real huge club.
Yeah, it was a big deal
Yeah.
for a while. For a
I
hot
walked
minute, it
in
was
there
like
and I was like, this
When
is
did-
it's like a rave. Or
Well, it was weird when you
Yeah.
walked in because you were 40.
no.
Hey, what's all these kids in here? You say that to kids? What a
No,
creep.
no. They changed it later to Deviate, which was like another.
That was after our time,
yes, dude, yes.
Wait, so Club 17
Yes.
became Deviate?
Yeah.
Well, you know, LA clubs, they
course.
cha-
No,
they,
I know,
I
they
know.
put a new coat of paint on it every couple
Yeah.
years. You
Yeah.
got to
Yep.
keep it fresh.
Yep.
And then
I
it
know.
eventually shut down.
I remember
Yeah.
Key Club went through like
Key Club.
there was Key Club. Remember that Key
Uh-huh.
Club? Yeah,
No.
wasn't
No.
that on? What wasn't that in Hollywood too? I don't know.
For
I didn't.
my
You know
time.
what's weird? I didn't really do the club scene till I was 21. Like I didn't really do that. I didn't even go to Vegas till I was 21. Because I was under the understanding like I felt weird going into these places when people knew, right? Because when you're famous and you walk in and everybody knows you're not.
Everybody
21, I
knows you're
felt
not
weird.
21,
I felt
yeah.
weird, like faking, like I was. So to me, I didn't want to. I didn't want to be in there until I knew I was 21.
Yeah, I did all that stuff earlier
Same.
than you're supposed to,
Same.
but not as early as I could have. Given not
Yeah.
as early as some people did.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, mostly because we were shown a lot of love at 1-7, and that was the place
It's
where
true.
we hung out. You
Same,
know, it was-
yeah.
But everyone there was our age, and so that was like.
that's so much. That's cool. I didn't want to have the pressure of
didn't-
like being around a bunch of older people that knew that I wasn't their age.
But I didn't care
like
to
that.
go to the club to hang out with older people. Like I wanted to go out and hang out with people
Yeah.
my own age. So that
I
was
don't
the
think
place.
there
That was
a
the only
Club
place.
17 when I was
That was it, yeah.
I'm like 10 years older than you guys. I don't think there was a Club 17 type thing.
No.
when
Well,
we
you
were
went to
growing
the
up.
Alfie parties.
Well, no, I went to like 3 of those soda pop parties.
Wait, what?
No, they had these New York seltzer parties. I think they did a documentary on it or something, but I don't know. I never.
What?
I was younger than a lot of those people that went there. You know.
Yeah. It was bad.
It was bad. I guess.
It was
I never saw anything there, but
Diddy party.
Wait, this is not a laughing matter, gentlemen.
why are
What
you
is
laughing?
this?
Yeah, I don't know.
What
Honestly,
is this? What
Mom
do you
and
mean,
Dad-
Joe, you had some crazy Diddy party as a baby?
no, dude. New York
As a
seltzer.
baby.
New York seltzer party. Remember New York seltzer?
What?
New York seltzer was like a sparkling soda.
Nope, you lost
Anyway,
me on this one. Yeah,
They were sponsoring. That's all I remember about it. They were sponsoring these like basically no alcohol sort of parties in the 80s. But I was a kid. I didn't even go to one until like 88. I was like 12.
sure.
You know, but
was
everybody in there,
3.
everybody in there was like probably it was like the Alyssa Milanos and those people who were older. They were like
Mhm.
5-6 years older than me. So I only went once or twice, and then again, I felt like I was the youngest kid in there, and I don't like that feeling. So
Mhm.
I left and never went back. But I guess that there was, obviously like with a lot of these things, there was some, nefarious type behavior that was going on. I wasn't aware of it, but I guess that's what
Yeah,
happened.
I mean, I don't
Nothing
know.
comes up, which is so
That's
weird.
because they scrubbed the internet.
You
up.
could throw a dart at these clubs, and whatever you land on there, something nefarious went on there.
Well, I feel like
You know?
depending on who you're with, what your mindset is, or what your awareness level is, you're either aware of that stuff or you're not. And I was not.
No,
But-
exactly.
But I feel like the older kids probably were.
There
you
were
know?
there. It's easy
Yeah.
enough to be in that scene and not have any idea what the other side of that
Yes,
scene
and
is
I was
like.
very
Yeah.
thankful. I never got into the drug and alcohol thing. I never did it. I mean,
Yeah.
I drank and went, but I was 21. And I never got into the drugs. I just never
Yeah,
did. And I'm not saying like that was just my journey, but I never got involved in that.
For sure.
stuff.
I did well, and also like I always when we got into that age and we'd be going out and stuff. Like I don't live like kind of in LA. I
Right.
come down. I live outside of LA. And when we moved out here from New York, because I'm from New York, when my family moved out here before the show started, right around when the show started in the 90s, we moved outside of LA.
Yeah.
So I've always been kind of an hour away, and
It's nice.
that, but which is great, and that's that's why
nice.
I still kind of subscribe to that that way of dealing with LA.
Yeah.
But I was always close enough. I used to say all the time, the thing I would say is that like I'm close enough to LA where I get all the benefits of LA,
Right.
but it doesn't follow me home.
Yeah, which is great.
So like when I'm
good.
done with LA, I can leave it and I can go home.
Yep.
And so because of that, when I would go out and stuff, I couldn't really drink because I always had an
Right.
hour drive,
Right.
to
Yep.
go home.
Yep.
And I always drove myself. So
I was always the
designated
Me
driver.
too. Me too.
Always.
I liked having the ability. Number one, I wasn't a drinker really, but two,
Yeah, me
I
neither.
love the ability of being able to like when I was ready to go. Like I loved being able to get,
Let's
what, guys,
go.
I'm out. Yeah. And if they
Yeah.
didn't want to go, like they could get cabs or whatever they wanted. But
Yeah.
but I
You're on
was
your
ready
own.
to go.
Yeah.
I never wanted to be in a situation where I was like, oh man, I don't want to be here.
No,
Another
yeah.
hour. No, I want to go. I'm out of here. This
No,
place sucks.
it's- yeah.
So I
Yeah.
always
When
wanted
it's
to
time to
drive,
go.
and my friends were always cool with letting me drive. So
Yeah.
I always drove.
All right,
Yeah.
so real quick, many, many, many years before Club 17,
Mm-hmm.
you and Matt did a movie together.
We
Many
did.
years.
How about
Many
that,
years
though?
before that.
Which one did you guys do?
Crazy.
We did Angels in the End Zone.
Which was a sequel to Angels in the Outfield, which was what's his
Danny Glover was in Angels in the Outfield, wasn't he?
Yeah,
I think he was.
and Christopher Lloyd
Well, it was
was in
definitely Christopher Lloyd and
the fantastic Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Yeah,
and then the sequel was Angels in the End Zone, which was
Yeah,
football,
the
not
sequel was
baseball.
us.
yeah.
It was
And
us.
you guys, which is great, and Christopher Lloyd,
Christopher Lloyd.
which I hear
And
is
Christopher Lloyd, yeah.
How was that? How was working with Christopher
Well,
Lloyd?
I was actually thinking
Great
about this
stuff.
coming down, and I wanted to ask you kind of what your memories of it are, because you're a little bit older than I am.
Yeah.
And so I imagine that you remember it probably better than I do. But my memories of my early career, in the 90s and kind of back then are all kind of vignettes. You know what I mean? Like I remember moments,
sure.
and I remember kind of, and it's all set stuff. It's not so much the project, but like the day we were having on
sure.
set or base camp and stuff like that.
Yep.
So what I remember of Angels in the End Zone is I remember that we traveled to film it.
Mhm.
Was it in Canada? Were we in
Vancouver.
Vancouver? Yeah. So we were up in Vancouver, which we've all been there a
Yeah.
bunch, right?
Yeah.
That's home number 2 if you were working back then. I'm sure it still is.
We were just
these
talking
days.
about that a couple
Mhm.
weeks back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Vancouver, man.
I do too.
Cool
It's
city.
a beautiful, cool city.
Yeah,
It is a cool city.
And I remember my first day on the show was in the house set. We were doing the family home stuff. So I
Oh,
had to come
yeah.
in and do like stuff in my bed where I was like, I think the like wishing stuff, like all those kind of scenes we did like really early. And then we spent weeks out on the football field and kind of doing that
man.
stuff, which I'm sure was more impactful on you because
Yeah.
I was like in the stands, kicking back early, and you guys had to like play football
We had
and
to play
stuff.
football. Yeah. It was fun. I mean, I love doing that. But
What I-
yeah.
What I remember about
When you did that?
I don't know. I'm
Probably
trying
like
to think.
15?
It's a good call. I don't know.
Yeah, it was
man.
Danny Glover, Christopher Lloyd, Tony Danza was in Angels in the
Tony
Outfield.
Danza.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Joey Gordon-Levitt. Yeah.
And what year was that?
That was 94.
So this would have been
Like
probably
97, 98?
right in
Probably
there, yeah.
somewhere
It
in
would have been
This
right
was
in there.
97.
So
Yep.
Angels in the End Zone was 97.
So it was after the first year of our show.
Mm-hmm.
So I had already started Seventh Heaven,
Hmm.
and which would have been because we started that in '96.
Yeah.
And so it would have been a hiatus thing in the springtime.
You were born in 85, right?
85, yeah.
Dude, it's so crazy because I love 85 just because
Yeah.
it was just I was only like 8, but I remember 85 was a great Christmas for us. We always talk about Christmas at 85, getting our boom boxes and all the mixtapes and everything. But we were also talking about, because we've had an opportunity, obviously, with this podcast, talk about like great movies and stuff. 85 for music and movies was insane. And I just saw a post, and I literally took a screenshot of this morning. Listen to these movies that came out in 1985, okay? Back to the Future, The Goonies, Breakfast Club, Weird Science, Rocky IV, The Jewel of the Nile, Teen Wolf, Commando, and Clue. That's just a handful of the movies
Those are all
that came out
bangers.
in
I've seen them
1985.
all
Crazy.
multiple times.
I mean,
you know what I mean? Like,
that's-
literally all of them.
That's, by the way,
multiple
that
times.
is
Wow.
there.
Unbelievable.
Yes,
Wow.
that literally
That's
is
like March through
yes.
May or
That's
something.
in
You know
3
what,
months.
though?
Yeah.
You know what though? The 80s.
Oh my!
When we were
gosh.
young in the 90s and in the 2000s, the 80s didn't get its flowers.
They didn't.
But it totally does now.
Oh, yeah.
it does now.
Everybody knows.
Oh, they know.
that the 80s were the shit.
Yeah.
It's clear as day now.
The 90s.
The 90s were the
90s were
fumes.
great,
And for me, it's the
but it
fumes,
lives off the
man.
fumes of the 80s.
Yeah.
The 80s is one of those eras of music that is just absolutely unique.
It is.
You can play any song you play from the 80s, you can tell.
Oh, yeah.
You know that's the era it comes from.
I know.
And no matter what genre it's in.
Nice.
And
And
we're
so,
also
like,
talking about, and
the
you're a pop
80s
music
kills
guy
it.
and a hip hop
it
guy. You're talking about the diversity of music. And what I loved about the 80s was the diversity of the music.
Yeah.
Like top 10 was, speaking of
Multiple-
hip
all
hop,
the charts
it was
was
LL Cool J, Aerosmith,
yeah.
Michael, Prince, Stevie,
Yeah.
Tina Turner, Whitney Houston. It was also Beastie Boys. Like, you talk about, it was Cool in the Gang. It was Donna Summer still making some records, even though she was the disco lady. I mean, the Eagles, the diversity of music at any point in time in the top 10
Yeah.
was unbelievable.
Early Metallica.
Dude,
Yeah.
it was all of it. It was all of it.
there's
It was,
so much good
Billy
shit,
Joel was still in the top. I mean, it's incredible, right?
Yeah.
And if
I got
you
a
go
soft
through,
spot for Billy Joel.
dude, me too, dude, me too.
He just took
me
a
too.
spill on stage a few weeks
I know, I
back,
saw
about
that.
a month ago. Didn't
Me-
look too
me-
good.
Just
me
saw
too.
that too, yeah.
And I feel
I
like
thought it was a clip from The Penguin, the television show.
I feel like you're so mean, dude. By the way, nobody knows why you fell, which is really sad. Why are you laughing? You're such a jerk. See what
It's
happened?
not even accurate. It's just mean.
it did look like
It is
thought
just mean.
I thought it was.
It
a
is mean.
clip.
But you know
It
what?
looked
But you
like
know
it was
what
a
I'm saying?
pratfall from the television show The Penguin. It did.
You're
I don't
such a
know.
putz. But at any rate, it was
Look
so
at it.
incredible.
Tell me, it
I
doesn't.
saw it. It made me feel, dude. I remember Billy Joel. The first time, speaking of Billy Joel, the first time it's so crazy because
It's the first one that I thought.
when
Is
he
this The
hit me,
Penguin?
talk about a sort of like an important age, right? It was We Didn't Start the Fire in '88,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a huge pop hit for him. He hadn't been
Yeah.
like relevant to young people
Yeah.
like that, but that actually, I'll never forget it. I was in 6th grade, and We Didn't Start the Fire became like the song of the year for us. And subsequently, my dad was always into music, and I played my dad that record, and he then said, I love this song. Let me play you Billy Joel. And he went and played, yes, he played Allentown and, Always a Woman to Me and Piano Man.
Sure, all the great
Dude,
ballads.
And I
that
went,
he's known for,
oh
yeah.
my gosh, this guy is incredible.
Yeah.
And, but
Great
that's,
songwriter, yeah.
dude, incredible song. And incredible. Oh, dude, he's just such a gifted musician.
Okay, so I don't know how we got here.
The
but
same thing's going to happen in the 90s, by the way.
It is.
I want to get that in. I think
Yeah.
that's
It's
starting
happening,
now.
bro. It's happening.
starting
the
now.
kids are finding
You know,
it.
But the
the kids
90s
like it.
are about to get their
Dude,
flowers.
100%.
Big time. That's all coming.
You're
coming
right.
back.
And-
And
and-
again, music, man.
Oh,
It's
dude, the
an
90s
awesome
were epic.
era.
Oh, epic, epic
Yeah.
for music.
Great, yeah.
So wait,
It was
so-
two decades of
we got off-
tremendous
Yeah, I know
music.
what Joe-
Absolutely.
We were talking about
Christopher Lloyd.
Stellar.
Lloyd.
Back
Yeah,
to the
well,
Future came out in '85.
Right.
Back
That's-
full circle. Now back to Angels in the End Zone and Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah, the memories.
What
that
do
we
you
have
What
of
do you
him.
remember about Christopher? Because what I remember of him is that despite his kind of kooky characters, that he was really reserved. He
Real
was
son
he
of a
was
bitch.
real-
No, I'm just kidding.
No, he was very sweet, and I remember him being kind, but I remember him being very quiet
Very.
and calm.
Very.
And then he would have to
Interesting.
kind of like work up the courage to do his big stuff, and then when it was over,
Interesting.
he'd kind of be like, oh, like it would take it out of him. He'd be very. He was very gentle, very quiet, very reserved, and that's really the only impression that I have of him from my memories. But
Me too.
But I wanted to ask you if
Yeah,
if
that
that
was-
jived with what you remember.
Spot on. Yeah, he was very. I was shocked because everyone was all. He was the big name on set, and so
Yeah.
everyone was really excited to
It
have
was Doc
him on.
Brown. I mean, you
Yeah,
probably
everyone was
expected,
excited to have him on, and
And his character in this was similar.
Yeah,
in
that's
that-
21 gigawatts.
Yeah, but he had the same
Yeah,
vibes.
it
He was
was
the
the
big
same
angel. He
kind
was the
of-
same fun, bubbly kind of
yeah,
dude.
but the angel had that like mad scientist
Yeah.
Totally.
vibe
I
that
feel
he
like
was
he
kind of
always-
known for.
I feel
Yeah.
like because in Back to the Future, they made him look older. He played much older in that movie than he actually was. Crazy thing is, in Back to the Future, okay, Christopher Lloyd was the age that I am now, actually, in real life, even though they made him much older than that,
I think
right?
we should give you the same hairdo that Christopher Lloyd
Yeah.
had.
So to me, he always played like 10, 15 years older than he actually was. Because, like I said, he was like 48.
Which is an interesting niche to tackle. Yeah.
Normally it's the other way.
It's always the other way.
Well, you look at Tom Cruise, he's always played 10, 15 years younger than he is.
In a way, it's almost like the Steve Martin thing where the guy kind of just had, I mean, it worked for Steve Martin so well. But to another point, he didn't
age for like 30 years.
Exactly.
Because he always played the same age. He looks now sort of like finally older than he did in Back to the Future, but for years
he didn't.
He didn't look the same age.
It's true. Good point.
Think about that. He was only 48 when he was in Back to the Future. It made him very
timeless.
So that means
over the decades.
We have to work really hard to look a lot older now, so that when we're actually older, people are like, "Wow, you've just been
exactly
looking."
I'm gonna have Sam put that AI ager over me.
Oh my gosh!
So in all my podcasts,
remember when we took that picture of us?
Yeah, it was super crazy.
It was not fun.
Spot on.
A little scary.
Yeah, we looked like our grandfather.
Yeah, it was weird. Anyway, but yes, that's the exact impression I had of him. And then anyway, so everyone's has this anticipation for him to step on set, and he does, and so of course I feel that as well from the crew. And so I step out there, and the first thing I have memory of him, he was just sitting on one of the bleacher benches, sort of half in costume. I think the bottom half was in costume, the other half, maybe because he was going to put something on, wasn't. Maybe he was in a jacket or something. He's just sitting there. And I go up, and, they introduce me, and same thing, he was just very quiet, like, hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Yeah, we'll do a scene. Sat down. And then he got his whole thing, got himself into it.
He kind of worked himself up to it.
And then after, he'd be like, oh.
yeah. It was a lot of. I remember just thinking that I remember being surprised, even at a young age, that it took so much effort for him to be this character that everyone just assumed he was like that. You know, kind of that. You kind of watch like. We grew up in the 90s with like Jim Carrey and stuff, and then you see, it's just kind of how you expect him to be, that sort of thing.
I know.
And it was totally the opposite of that.
Yeah, it is.
But still sweet and very kind. And, I don't remember having any negative impression of him at all.
No, and again, just a gem on set. I mean, he just did his thing, never complained, never did anything. Even when they were like, when there's that time when like, time's ticking away, and you're just kind of sitting there. He never. It was never an issue.
It's funny because I guess a lot of those like real funny comedians are that have that big personality on film are like that. Like you have the Robin Williams story.
Yeah, the brighter you burn.
Rowan Atkinson was like that. When I did Bean, I expected him to be kind of fun and bubbly, and they were like so serious on set. It was like shocking. It almost took the air out of the levity of it, which is okay. Super pro.
I think it's just impressive though, because everyone, and this is what kind of that shtick that the comedian actors never get the same love that the dramatic actors do, because everyone kind of assumes that if you're funny that you're just kind of like that. And you're lucky because you're a funny guy, and so you get to just be funny.
You're
just being funny, which and they don't see the kind of the transformation that happens with a lot of the big comedic actors that have found that's such a other person in them to bring out.
Chris Farley was like that as well. He was so big and fun and bubbly. And when like off camera, you expected that same type of energy, and it was just very isolated. John Belushi
epitomized that too. He was not that guy,
So wild.
A lot of these guys that are funny
You're right.
were actually pretty intense.
The perception's a lot different than
Chevy Chase often got a reputation that he was like. He actually wasn't like maybe approachable or friendly, but he was actually very reserved.
Jim Carrey, who I absolutely love, I think he's probably one of the most brilliant.
You can't be our age and not
he's brilliant,
idolize.
Dude. He's just the most brilliant actor.
If you were
performer.
A kid in the 90s,
he's
one of your heroes. He's on the list. He belongs there. Yeah.
I used to do impressions of him, and I was at the Ace Ventura 2 premiere, and I used to do him on
which premiere?
Ace Ventura 2.
Okay.
And
When Nature Calls.
Yeah,
I mean, I love that one too.
Yeah,
if you're our age, there are no bad Jim Carrey movies.
I mean, that's when the spears are in his leg in that movie. That's unbelievably funny. Anyway,
it is unbelievably funny.
I walked right up to him and I said, "I do impressions of you," and he picked me up, dude. And we took a picture on the red carpet, and I got a picture signed by him. Spanked me very much.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I lost all of my good stuff.
Oh no, that's a shame,
dude.
man.
It really is.
You know what was amazing about him is the range that he showed when he went over to like Bruce Almighty and Liar Liar.
Dude, the
insanely
Truman
talented
Show?
dramatic actor.
Dude,
and the same with Robin Williams. So many comedic actors are
switch it over.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
in drama.
I know.
And it's one of those things where, like, I guess if you can do the big comedy, it's kind of a tell. that you're
You
one of the
tone
best.
it-
That you're one of the best
You're right.
of us.
You're right.
I mean,
That
You
you
do it
have the
big.
control.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
that
I'll never
is-
forget. I'll never forget that scene
100%, dude.
where
You're
in
right, 'cause
Liar
you're
Liar
you're
he was
riding
with
it
his
in the-
kids,
in
right? And
the
he was
engine
like,
in the red the whole time.
the whole time,
and you're able to do it without
Yeah.
blowing it out.
and
or turning people
without
off.
exhausting the audience.
You're right,
Because If
exactly.
you're popular at that,
Exactly.
you know,
It's smart.
imagine trying to lead a movie at the energy levels of a Jim Carrey or a Robin Williams, or but
Dude.
could you imagine?
Liar, liar. I mean, like,
dude, no,
what?
Liar Liar is one of my
Unbelievable.
favorite
What?
movies. When
Dude,
he was
but
with
your
his
point,
kid,
the Majestic,
he's like,
Truman
"Here's-
Show, like these series,
Not
like
today.
I mean,
I can't
dude,
lie
those-
today. Remember, I mean,
Yeah.
when he's with his son, he's crying, Max.
Dude, Man on the Moon was unbelievable.
Amazing.
That movie,
Yeah.
he should have won an Oscar for. How do you
should've.
not?
Sandler's another one who's excellent in
You're
dramas.
right.
He's
Unbelievable.
You're
excellent
right.
in
Punch Drunk
dramas.
Love was
Yeah.
I
unbelievable.
love Adam Sandler.
So here's the thing, though.
He's so good in those weird
When he has
little
to
indie
flip it,
weird
when
dramas.
he has
Yeah, he
to
is.
flip it and he has to be dramatic. And I'm telling you something, even in movies, like one of my favorite movies is Blended. I love this movie. When he's with his kids in that movie and there's those heartfelt moments, he can be so understated and subtle with the emotion that it's like, wow. Yet it's the same guy that goes, "Stop looking at me, Swan," you know?
Yeah.
Kind of
Well, and,
amazing range.
and so you look at some of his, like one of his greatest movies is Big Daddy, where
Great movie.
But the reason why that's one of his greatest movies is because in that film he does both things.
He does.
And it's you know, a script that can do both things is impossible to find. They're one in a million kind of scripts.
Yes.
But
Yes.
in that movie, he is hilarious, you know, kind of Adam Sandler, off the wall, goofy stuff. And then he's also amazing dad
He is.
with all of that emotional range. So like you get, you know, that's
just not easy
why
to do.
I think of all his big movies, that's my favorite one.
It's a
But
great
then
movie.
he's got amazing little movies too that like
Does.
that just go under the radar.
Does.
Yeah, comedians are the
It's
best
so-
of us.
It's so strange. I love to hear you say that because I've always thought that even when you look at, you know, the dramatic community when it comes to Hollywood or SAG-AFTRA, what do they have? They have comedy tragedy sign. It's yin and yang. It's
But
50,
they never
50
reward.
with the
Right.
extremes on that
Yeah.
little
dude,
pendulum are
They just
making somebody laugh at the extreme and making somebody cry at the extreme.
don't have
the
all
best
the emotions
comedy,
are
right?
in between.
Right.
they still don't have
To
a best
give it-
comedy.
To give awards, and they still just give out these awards for these dramatic, to
Well,
not.
Everyone assumes
what do we
that the
talk about?
dramatic work is more difficult because it's serious.
No.
By nature, the dramatic
Mm-hmm.
work is serious.
Yeah.
And so those are serious films that deserve serious consideration. And they do, but comedy
right.
gets the short end of the stick
You're right.
because it's fun, because it makes people laugh. And so it can be considered cheap or easy or, you know,
Yeah.
more flippant. And
Well,
so
like-
it's not given that same consideration.
It's
And that's
such
always been like
ridiculous.
that.
Always.
It's always been like
Ridiculous.
that.
And it's amazing to me as
It's just like stunts aren't
So
even. There's no
raw.
like stunts
amazing
aren't.
to
How,
me-
how are stunts not
yeah, Academy-
recognized in the Academy Awards? I mean, people have
Should
literally
be.
died
Guys, the
performing
Academy Awards,
stunts in movies.
The Academy Awards has to evolve, in my opinion. They need action movie. They need
They do.
they need comedy.
They do.
At this point,
They need
at this point,
It is funny to see what films they kind of lump into what categories.
ridiculous.
And wait, you don't have
The
to air
categories are
you also,
absurd.
you don't have
You
to
gotta
air
do
them
better
all.
with the
You also
categories,
don't
in
have
my
to air
opinion.
them all. I mean, let's be real. Okay, so you only have a certain amount of time on television, ad time, whatever.
Well, they do.
that.
They already
Exactly.
do that.
So
yeah.
add these
They
categories
have
and
technical
recognize them.
Oscars
They
that
should.
don't get shown on television. So like, there's plenty of room for more
They have to do that.
categories
They have
and
to.
to broaden what they.
It is
what
interesting
they
to me though
reward.
because the speeches that always stand out, that the people appreciate. I'm not talking about the industry because the way they see things.
Shout
is
out to
very
Kieran
different.
Culkin too, who won because
Okay.
honestly,
Wow, it's so
it's just cool to see a young actor who's
Yeah.
been doing it his whole life.
Yeah, I love it.
Win an Academy Award.
But also his
I was
speech.
like, that's pretty cool.
His speech was funny.
I loved it. Let's
was
get Kraken
self-deprecating.
on his wife.
It was
That so
self-deprecating.
cool.
But that's my
He's
point.
great.
The
Big fan.
presenters that always are most beloved by the fans, I'm talking not the industry, and the speeches that are always most beloved by
Oh,
the
yeah.
people that watch are with comedy.
of course.
It's so funny.
Totally.
They try to write comedy for these two people to come out and present an award
And it doesn't
for
work.
something that's so
Oh, it's so
fuddy-duddy
bad.
that nobody
Dude, those
cares.
jokes,
Right.
some of these jokes,
Horrific.
how are they? I mean,
I know.
like, how are these
When
very
the Oscars-
talented
my favorite part of the
performers
Oscars
delivering
always-
just bombs
You
on
guys,
stage?
but you guys have presented at the
Not at
award
the
shows.
Oscars.
Not at the Oscars,
Yeah.
sure, and neither have I. But like
the
we all
daytime
did
Emmys.
our scene of award
99.
shows,
Yeah, yeah.
the Teen
Yeah,
Choices
sure,
and the
yeah.
MTV Awards and all
Yep.
the
I
cool
I
young
did the
stuff.
Golden Globes, and it was the
Yeah.
same
Sure.
thing. The script was.
It doesn't matter what award show
I
it
know.
is.
You're right, it's just
You
brutal.
always look at the thing you got to go out there and say and go, you know, and you're just like, all right, here we go.
And you don't
you know,
I know.
trying to make it
and
funny.
you don't, yeah, and you don't have
Can't do
a say in the matter. They kind of, this stuff is all written and given to you at the last minute, and here, do this, and it's on the prompter. And
they try to break people down with comedy when they're presenting, or when they're accepting. It's so funny. Yet they don't they don't honor that art form in there.
Comedy,
it's weird.
Comedy is the thing that brings you in. It's the 100%. Thing that's relatable and that loosens you up and gets 100%. You comfortable. Like comedy does all of that heavy lifting. Drama, I've always been, I've always considered myself a dramatic actor. So in the few times in my career where I've had to do comedy, that's where I'm most uncomfortable. So I've always had that kind of reverence and respect for comedian actors in general, because I look at it and it's terrifying. It's like singing to me. I'm like, I don't want to, this isn't going to go well, and I'm going to look bad. So, but with drama, I always found that to be kind of the easier side of the coin, because to me, when I was a kid, the thing that clicked with me in my early career was, and the reason why I think I had good success when I was young, was because if the audition had some emotional content to it, then I would do well. Like automatically I would do well, because I was a sensitive kid. So I would it wasn't a matter of like creating a character or finding a thing or making something out of it. It was just allowing the writing that had that emotional content to affect me.
The emotions were just under the surface.
Being open to it was enough for me to then perform it and allow that to open up the door. You know what I mean? Cool. And have that emotional connection with whatever the writing was. So, but comedy's not the same way at all. You can't just read a joke and be like, I'm just going to be open to it and it'll be funny.
Right. No,
like you can't, you have to construct and hold it up in a way that's unique, because all these big comedians we've been talking about, they're all unique. So you can't crisscross them around. No. They're all unique. You could take a dramatic performance. I saw something on the internet the other day, it was recently, that was like all the actors who like read for Titanic. Right. And it was all of these big name actors from the 90s. And I went, yeah, sure. Okay.
Right. It could work.
I could see Titanic with any of them, and not to take away how great that movie is.
River Phoenix was around. River could have pulled it off. Like a lot of people could have stepped in that role.
There was so many actors that were in contention for that against Leo that would have done a fantastic job with that role. Sure, not better or worse, but just in their own way, a fantastic role.
100%.
Try to switch around comedians like that.
Can't do it.
And it just doesn't make sense.
Put somebody else in, you can't do it.
It doesn't make sense.
Put
in the
somebody
same
else
way.
other than Chris Farley and Tommy Boy, it's not going to work.
It's tough. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
whole different
and
movie.
even big comedians, right? Because then they all have that unique kind of spin on how their comedy works. Their timing, everything.
Matt and I were talking about this earlier. This is kind of off topic, but just talking about audition like tapes and stuff. I love No Country for Old Men. Yeah, it's one of my favorite movies of all time. I watch it. Honestly, too much.
Great.
Such a good movie.
I watch it daily.
And the Coen brothers were talking about.
Dark.
It's
a little dark.
I watch a really interesting place.
Fall asleep to it. Wake up
once
to
a
it.
week is plenty.
I really do actually.
That movie,
I love it. I watch it so often. Anyway, I really do. I watch it probably once a month. But
it's this is a drinking game. You just said it 4 times.
Yeah, once a month. Oh, No Country. Josh Brolin's audition tape. The Coen brothers I saw recently were talking about it, and they said, so we love Josh Brolin, but his audition tape won him the role, and it wasn't him. We were like, my gosh, who shot this audition tape? And when you watch it,
it looks incredible.
In fact, believable.
You see it, the tone that they actually took from the audition
they actually
tape for the movie.
And they're like, we love Brolin, but we were like, it's the audition. It's
the cinematography.
Guess who shot the audition tape?
Who?
Quentin Tarantino.
No, he didn't.
Brolin was on a Quentin movie, and he asked Quentin.
That's not.
And Quentin was
fair.
like, "I'll grab the camera and shoot the audition
Dude, you guys
scene
see the
for you."
audition
Come
tape?
on, dude, it is so good.
No,
it is so. I'm like,
in fact, the angle that Quentin
it's
shows.
the same one.
Quentin's
Dude.
secret masterpiece.
Dude,
it's
Quentin
unbelievable.
you don't realize it. Not only is he a great filmmaker, he's
What
a master camera operator.
Dude, what a
the
composition!
Guy,
Unbelievable.
When he picks up a camera, he
He's
just
just
knows.
gifted. Yeah, he's
it's
gifted.
a millimeter down, a little bit to the left. It changes the way a person's face looks, and he is gifted
so
at
good.
finding that sweet spot.
I was so impressed by
the fact
this.
the audition tape, he has the actor standing this way, like the guy reading with it standing this way, talking like this to Brolin, just sweeping over, keeping it here on Brolin with the tan sepia behind him. And you're like...
It's really wild. It's really well done.
Have you guys ever... So late in the past, like 10 years, say, right, in the in the self-tape era, right? Like, so we're all old enough to remember the industry where
I miss
you
it,
spent
actually.
a day going to 2 or 3
Yeah,
calls,
auditions,
going to
drive
different
around.
offices, reading
Coffee
things out
shop.
in the car real
You know what's
quick.
funny?
I didn't like it then, but I miss it
I
now.
miss it. I actually
I miss the grind of it. It was
Yeah.
that's old familiar, right?
Yeah,
like
the
we
grind,
spent
man.
most of it. Like people look at our careers, and most of our lives was spent on that grind,
Yeah.
Right.
as
Yeah.
opposed to what you end up seeing in our career,
Exactly,
what
man.
makes it to the screen.
Yes.
Yeah.
But in the self-tape era, did you guys ever get to a point where you go through that phase, right? Where you're like, okay, I'm bored of this, I hate this, and then you're like, no, and now I'm gonna get weird with it.
That's what
right? So then I would do
everything.
if I
everything.
ever got struck, so like one time, and I won't talk about which project it was or whatever, but I read for this one project that was it was a video game project. This was, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years ago or something. And it was a video game project to do mocap and stuff like that. So one of these big modern games. And it was a villain role or whatever who was talking to someone who was tied up. So I took my phone and I put my phone on the floor. And I sat next to it and I did the whole audition tape, like side-eyeing the phone on the floor.
Cool.
Because I know how they shoot, how games are shot, you know, with the perspectives and stuff. And I was like, I don't know. I just kind of threw it away because I was like, whatever, dude. You know, you do 100 self-tapes and who cares? So I'm going to do something I think is fun. And I instantly got that producer call back.
Yay.
And it was just, and I knew getting that call that it was based on the creativity of the way I shot my audition tape. Because, you know, you're sitting there going through 100 auditions that all look the same, that are all against the blank wall and are kind of just, you know, faces on the screen. Yeah. But those little bits of creativity is the stuff. I mean, I remember being proud of that stupid audition tape. You know, it was just a little audition tape, but I was so proud of it because
That's awesome,
I
dude.
knew even when I did it and I watched it, and I was like, they're gonna love this shit.
That's
This
awesome,
is cool. You know what I mean? And
awesome.
and it came right through.
Yeah.
So stuff like that is the thing I love about the life that we lead in this industry, man, is that when the creativity clicks, you know what I mean? Like it's a rush,
fun.
you know,
It is.
that's the drug that we live on, you
know
know?
what's funny too? And I've heard this from a few directors is that maybe it's not the best read, maybe it wasn't even the best angle, but because you were enjoying it, that somehow, and that is something we don't have the words for or a mathematical equation for, but that triggers in the viewer the enjoyment. That
Yeah,
you're
the
enjoying
connection,
it.
yeah.
Whether it's good or not, you're enjoying it and it triggers something in that
Totally.
viewer. And sometimes that's why you get a role because you are in it. You're just
Well,
in it. and
speaking
you're
of
enjoying it.
getting a role, I got a bone to pick with you, bro. It's just been
Okay.
30 years in the making.
no.
all right?
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, dude.
What?
I'm sorry, by the way, in
you,
advance.
you beat me out of 2 roles that I auditioned for, and I love both these movies. So, and I ended up doing a big shout out to Mr. John Travolta. Okay, because I ended up doing with Joe. Did a movie with John. We're good friends with John. I ended up doing a movie with John, but it wasn't as good as your 2 movies. 3 movies with John, dude.
I did 2 with John.
Oh, 2 movies. Okay.
Yeah.
Look Who's Talking.
Look who's talking now.
Dude.
Yeah, with the dogs.
Dude.
The third one.
Dude, and honestly, one of my favorite Travolta movies, which I absolutely love. The soundtrack is so good, dude.
It is.
Phenomenon.
Oh,
bro.
man. Great movie.
What a movie,
Yeah.
What?
dude.
Honestly, I'm getting chills right now.
We
Just
went
thinking
we were
about
at, we were at the
Eric
premiere.
Clapton.
We
and
were
the
at the premiere
Spoon.
phenomenon.
Dude, you did
yeah.
so
John invited us to
so
go to
good. That
That's
movie
so
was so
cool.
good, bro. And I just wanted to
Yeah.
say I'm such a huge fan of that movie, bro.
Yeah.
And I honestly, for all these
Well,
years,
I'd love to
I'm-
say thank you, but it's not me. You know what I mean?
well,
it's
it
like
is you,
it's-
dude. No, it's
How
you.
great is John,
bro?
right?
But
Isn't
John
he
is the
just,
coolest,
dude, one of
man.
the coolest human beings ever, right?
So
One of the kindest human beings
Yes, he
ever.
really
it's
is.
it's hard to describe.
Yeah.
Like John, so he's such a sweet guy, and again,
Dude, it's
like
crazy.
gentle,
Yep.
sweet,
Yeah.
kind, soft-spoken, approachable, all of those
Yep.
things that you just wish that your hero is like. You
Yep.
know what I mean? And not only that, but everybody on set just adores him.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
Yeah.
he's one of those leading guys that embraces the crew
Yep.
and
Oh, yeah.
treats everybody with respect and like family
Yep.
and with concern, says good morning to everybody, like he jokes with everybody. He's present,
Yep.
you know, throughout the day, not just when he's on camera,
sure.
all
Yep.
that kind of stuff.
Yep.
The kind of stuff that as a young actor working with him left the biggest thing that I learned from John was that
Yeah.
is that
graciousness.
you come in, you do the best you can with the work, but you recognize that everybody is working a full day with you. This is not a one-man show.
Totally.
It's never a one-man show. And
yeah, it's awesome.
John was he exuded that kind of confidence, respect.
Yep.
You know, all,
He's a
all
champion
of those
on
things.
set. He really is.
really was,
Yeah.
man. And on both of the films that I did with him, Phenomenon is one of the gems of my career.
Bro, it's one of the gems of his career. And that's so cool because he's such a huge movie star.
Yeah.
And dude, and what a cool, I mean, that is so cool, dude.
No,
I'm
dude,
so stoked.
It was
It was
awesome.
an incredible, like, kind
Dude, what a good
it was a
movie.
really
Robert
pivotal
Duvall, oh my
experience.
God, what a
Robert
movie.
Duvall.
What a
I
set
have-
to be
I have-
on, dude.
I have limited but distinct memories of him as well.
If I
And Kira
could
Sedgwick
be
and Forrest Whitaker,
Oh,
who you know
even
at the time
for
wasn't even like
thee.
Forrest Whitaker yet.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that
Oh.
kind of he had his rally after that
Yeah, he
that
did.
where he kind of took his career up to these new heights. You know,
Yeah, definitely.
but all gentle souls, all really sweet people. Turtletop, the director, was also an absolute gem. I think he went on. He did the National Treasure films,
Oh,
if I
wow.
remember.
Yeah, you know, Turtle Top
and
was-
stuff. He's just one of those dudes who was incredible with kids. You know, so I was.
Well, that's cool to hear.
When we were when we did Phenomenon, I was 10. So this was the year before I started Seventh Heaven. I started Seventh Heaven when I was 11. And one of the reasons why I think that Seventh Heaven kind of went in my favor, because if you see the early seasons of the show, you know, like I'm like a white-haired, blonde, light-eyed kid in a family of brunettes. You know, and then we have the blonde mom as well, so they kind of matched us up like that. But one of the reasons why that kind of went in my favor is because I had Phenomenon like on the books, like that was coming out at the time. So that was my kind of moment, and it's one of the highlights of my career, that time where I was really like, I had some kind of, you know, impact when I would go out on things and stuff was really working out for me. And so, you know, it was special for me. But on set, when we were doing Phenomenon, Turtletop would go every morning, would show up and then come over and tell us like an awful dad joke.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like he would start the day with some ridiculous knock joke or some, you know, weird, some silly joke. You know, just to throw it at the kids and make us go, you know what I mean? And it was an awesome way to kind of ingratiate himself to us and make him approachable and friendly to us, you know, where we could then go, as we're doing the work, we can talk to him about stuff, you know, like he became someone you could just talk to.
That's so cool. And he did great work. John Turtletop also directed While You Were Sleeping, which is a movie that we've talked about. Amazing movie. And he did Cool Runnings.
Oh,
Cool Runnings is a
dude,
classic.
What a movie. What a movie.
So what a great sensitivity. And then he did National Treasure movies. So
He did the
Great
National
movies.
Treasure movies
Yeah,
afterwards.
Great
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah,
great movies. But he's a great
He was
director.
such a unique and fun director, you know, because there's directors like actors are all really unique, you know, like no two directors are the same. They don't feel the same on set. Their styles are different. The way they talk to the actors is you never know kind of what you're going to get with a director when you work with them for the first time.
Yeah.
And I learned that lesson really on Seventh Heaven, because when you're on a TV show that's running, directors are kind of the revolving door, as along with your guest stars, but directors are coming and going, because every episode's directed by a new person. They need it. They spend one episode prepping the next one.
Of course.
Then they come in and work with everybody, and then they're kind of gone. And if that relationship went well, they'll cycle back through, and eventually a show will find their directors that kind of always come
Of course,
back.
you settle on like
But
3 or 4.
but you end up working with
So many.
you know, dozens of directors on a show like that runs. So you get the sense of how you're really lucky when you work with someone who is a great communicator,
For sure.
is someone who comes over and gives you a note that allows you to change what you've done in a way where you can change it with confidence, because the change that was asked of you is clear, that you understand each other.
Yeah.
And so like that's something that's, you know, that's something that's special. And I remember Turtletop being like a super awesome guy to work with.
Awesome.
And, you know, a big personality on set. you know, like
That's awesome, dude.
yeah.
That's awesome.
But Phenomenon, man, is
Dude, what a movie.
is
So
one
good.
of the
Bro.
one of the gems that I got to be a part of. And it was all happenstance, truly. I mean, I credit my ability to be on that set to John, because just a year prior we'd come off the back of
Totally.
Look Who's Talking Now.
Totally.
So, and
He
I was
that
still
kind of guy. He is a really good dude. Very rarely in Hollywood do people actually care about people. Honestly.
No, it's
and like
true.
take it with you beyond a project, because it's easy to care about somebody when they're in your face every day and you spend a lot of time with them, and you know, but then life takes you on different
no,
different directions
absolutely.
and stuff.
We're in an industry where like you're family for 3 months.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you cut it off.
And then you're
And then
like
you cut it off, and it's like what? See you later.
extended family,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
your cousin you never see anymore.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
of
you
course.
everyone knows each other,
For sure.
but no, we're not all necessarily close. And that's
Life,
and that
man. It's-
that's
yeah.
kind of
But this man,
the industry really functions on that
It does.
relationship dynamic, which is strange.
it is
you know?
strange.
Yeah.
It's traumatic, really, especially when you grow to really love people and hang out with people. And
Yeah.
then when you're a kid, you're like, oh, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember bouncing around from shows to show and stuff, and I do 2-3 seasons here, and you're thinking, oh, this would be great. This is going to last for, you know, a long time, and you don't get that call back. You're like, oh, my God, I'm never going to see those
Yeah,
people
it,
again.
it
Like,
changes
Yeah.
really.
I'm never gonna
everything
see him.
shifts
And if you do,
overnight.
it's 30 years
and then,
later.
well, dude, like,
Yeah.
I mean, we went probably 20 years. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
man.
even- It's a scary amount of time. Too
I was
long,
I was so
honestly.
excited to run into you guys, man, at 90s Con.
I know.
At 90s Con, you know, I'm there with Beverly, who's a bit older than me, and most of the crowd at the 90s shows are, you know, I was 11 in 96 when
For sure.
when we started the show, so I'm on the young side of that
Yeah, of
crowd
Same here,
of
yeah.
actors, you know, like, so we're at 90s Con, and I don't know the Melrose Place people, and I don't know the
No,
90210 people, and I don't know, but I saw you guys, and I was like,
I
I know
know.
these guys, dude. That's
Absolutely, dude.
like,
Yeah.
you guys were the ones that were familiar faces to me, so it was a joy to run into you guys
Dude,
there.
Yeah.
Same here,
And
bro.
to get to come over and
Dude,
catch
same
up.
here,
you know?
man. Are you
Right,
going
man.
back to 90s Con? Are you doing it again? You guys
So
going back?
I don't think we're doing it this year. I think we would know by now if we're doing it this
Sure.
year.
Right.
But we had a great time and a good relationship with them as far as
Cool.
I know. So like, I'd love to do it again. But I'm assuming from what they told us that they kind of rotate. They kind of do
They
an
do.
every
They do.
other
They do.
thing. So I'm
do.
assuming maybe next year we'll go back. I mean, if they invited us, we'd do it.
Awesome.
They
know?
do, just to keep it. I think they do that just to keep
Keep it fresh.
fresh.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense, you know,
Yep,
that
yep.
given the
Yep.
the limited
Yeah.
crowd
Limited
of the
resources.
90s shows, you know,
course.
they're going to have to kind of rotate those around
Of
so that
course.
it doesn't get stale.
Yep. Exactly. Well, dude, this has been
I know, man.
awesome.
I know, dude.
Awesome.
Thank you so
Chat.
much for coming by, man. I
Incredible
really
how fast
appreciate
the
it.
time flies, dude. when
We
you got
can't let
somebody
another
that
20 years go by without hanging out.
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know?
no, absolutely not, man. It's
I know.
been really cool catching up with you
We'll all
guys.
be Christopher Lloyd's age if
And,
we do.
you
So
know,
we have to hurry
you
up.
guys ain't that far away from me, man. We can hang out, dude.
I'm in,
I'll come
bro.
over and kick it with
Please.
you guys.
Anytime, bro. Anytime. Yeah, we love getting into trouble
Anytime.
and causing mischief. So, and we would love to have you along.
Oh, awesome,
So,
You can
yeah.
go with Andy for
Hey,
that.
I'm just well, I'll make sure that I'm connected with all you
We'll
guys.
start,
I just-
we'll start a infamous brotherly love pod group chat
Yeah.
or
We'll do it.
group
Yeah, we'll do it.
text
Little
chain. And
Absolutely.
yeah, for
Thanks,
sure, man.
guys.
Thanks for having me, you guys.
Thanks so
course,
much
dude.
for coming into the house.
Yeah.
David Gallagher, everybody. Thank you so much for joining
great
us.
weekend.
Yes. We'll see you right here, same
Hit
time,
up
same
YouTube,
place.
subscribe.
Yes,
Yes,
please like and subscribe.
Like and
because
subscribe
of
and
you.
hit all the buttons and do all the things.
There you go.
Yeah.
You are our main supporters out there, so we appreciate you.
Thank you,
Thanks for the
buddy.
love. We'll see you next time on the Brotherly Love Pod.
Hey, what's up, everybody? The
Lawrence brothers are here.
Thank you so much for enjoying this week's episode of the Brotherly Love Pod.
And if you want more of this show, check out our premium feed on Supercast.
That's right, where you'll see ad-free episodes, monthly AMAs, behind-the-scene content, and so much more.
That's brotherlylove.supercast.com to join.
Check out our link tree and subscribe on all platforms. We'll see you all
Next week!